Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in 2 cases. First case is cause number M324196. Second case is cause number M324200. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Olivia Estrada Rosas. Ms. Rosas, is that your full name? How you doing, Ms. Rosas?
Fine.
That's good, Ms. Rosas. You're represented in your case by Attorney Stuart Yost. Attorney Yost, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. And the state is represented in this case by Attorney Erica Porter. Ms. Porter, how are you doing?
I'm sorry.
Ms. Rosas, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Rosas, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Ms. Rosas, you may put your hand down. Ms. Rosas, I have before me in cause number M324196 an information. And this information, it alleges that on or about August 3rd of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault. Ms. Rosas, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Ms. Rosas, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Rosas, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment, is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials. Now, Ms. Rosas, your initials OR are on a line next to a box that says check no contendere, which means no contest. Are you pleading guilty or are you pleading no contest?
No contest.
Okay, now are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Ms. Rosas, I have before me this document that's titled misdemeanor plea admonishment that you acknowledge. The first page, on the second page, there are a set of initials OR on a line next to a box. Just check no contender. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Ms. Rosas, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Rosas, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Rosas, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit. States, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2?
Yes, state offers one.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 will be admitted. Court will take judicial notice of States 2 because it's in the court's file. Mr. Yo, you've advised and counseled Ms. Rosas. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Ms. Rosas, your attorney, Mr. Yos, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Completely.
Ms. Rosas, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. and I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is a $500 fine, 80 hours community service, no contact with the victim, bid required, and 12 months of deferred.
1 year deferred adjudication, Your Honor. What he wants to do.
Okay. Now, Ms. Rosas, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 or cost of $387. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and a reimbursement fee of $15. The total monthly installments that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation is $164 a month. Will you be able to pay the $164 each month?
Yes.
You will also be required to perform 80 hours of community service. You will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Ms. Rosas, do you understand the state's offer? And do you think that the state's offer in this case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Rosas, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Rosas, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It would not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. And now, Ms. Rosas, in cause number M324200, I have before me a motion to dismiss the charges in that case, and the court is signing the dismissal now. You and your attorney will be able to get a copy of the dismissal in a few minutes. Do we need to have her to have a seat? Or you could- Okay, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions and once you get your copies of the judgment and the dismissal, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Yields, you'll be free to go as well. You have a blessed day. You're welcome.
Three times. Right, just to write down 3 times.
Dismissal should be printed on.
David, does Horn have a felony? Does Horn have a felony pending?
No, I don't think so. He's on bond.
That Mr. Oh, there he is.
And he
He might, I think he may have had one though.
Next case. Okay, the next case is cause number M330830, case of style, the state of Texas versus Ronald Wayne Kennedy Jr. Mr. Kennedy is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Kennedy, you can take your mic off of mute. Your mic still on. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy.
I can't hear you. Your phone is cutting out.
Okay. Now, Mr. Kennedy, you're represented by your attorney James Padgett. Attorney Paget is also appearing via Zoom. Mr. Paget, how are you doing?
Doing well, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Paget, what is your announcement, Mr. Kennedy's case?
Your Honor, we would be there in person. However, from my understanding is that there is a criminal case that has been accepted but not yet filed on Mr. Kennedy. This is Mr. Hoffpower's case. I'm not sure. I mean, there's no warrant as of this morning. I checked, and I
Okay.
don't see a case number. I'm not certain if Mr. Hoffpower has received any information on the filing of this case, but as of this morning, it hasn't been done.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see we don't see a new case.
And
that has-
Mr. Hoffpower should have a note in his file regarding the new case.
Okay,
We
so,
spoke about it last time.
okay, so what we'll reset this case 60 days. So that we can keep track of the possible new case, give it time to be reviewed by the district attorneys.
I think that would be a really good idea, Your Honor, so we don't have to just keep coming back every couple of weeks
Right.
and wasting the court's time.
Okay, so this case is going to be reset till when? Okay, this case is going to be reset to September 11th, 2023. Mr.
Yes,
Kennedy
Your Honor.
and your bondsman will be given notice of your recess. This will conclude your case. You're free to go. Thanks for being patient with us. And you have a blessed day.
You have a blessed day, young.
Okay, thank you. Next case is cause number M332274. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Kevon C. Brown. Mr. Brown is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Brown, you can take your mic off of mute. Mr. Brown, good morning. Mr. Brown, you're also represented in this case by your attorney, Attorney James Paget. Attorney Paget, what is your announcement in Mr. Brown's case?
Your Honor, we have received all discovery. We're just waiting on an offer from the state on this case, and it was Lamar's case, and I am not sure who's been assigned this case now.
Okay, well, we have a new prosecutor who's here for the first time, Ms. Erica Porter.
Good morning, Ms. Porter.
Now, what we'll do, we'll reset this case. We'll give time for Ms. Porter to review the case and then get an offer out to you and probably negotiate with you as well.
Okay, and I'll certainly follow up with an email to her introducing myself so we can get the lines of communication open.
Okay, give us a reset date.
We'll be doing 30 or
60. Yeah. Okay, this case will be reset to September 11th, 2023. Mr. Brown, your attorney will be given, your attorney and your bondsman will be given notice of your reset date. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, you're welcome. And let's see. Now, Mr.
One
Pat,
more, Your Honor.
also you're representing Bruce Marco Kuti, who is in
Yes, Your
call
Honor.
number M332846. Mr. Kuti is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Kuti, you can take your mic off of mute. Mr. Kuti, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Jan.
That's good. Now, Mr. Paget, what is your announcement in Mr. Kuti's case?
Your Honor, this is a similar situation. I'm going to need to get an offer from Ms. Parker. We do anticipate that this case will be disposed of by plea, and I would request that Mr. Kute appear along with me in person on the next setting. In the meantime,
Okay.
I will have this case worked out with Ms. Parker.
Okay, now this is going to be reset to September 11th.
Yes.
This is on page 5 of the announcement document, the last case on the. Okay, this case will be reset to September 11th, 2023. Mr. Kuti, your attorney and your bondsman will be given notice of your reset date. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. This will conclude your case. On your next court appearance, you need to be here in person. Thanks for being
Right.
patient with us. And you have a blessed day.
Okay, you too, Jan.
Okay, you're welcome. And Mr. Paget, this is your last case, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Paget, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
You have a blessed day too. Appreciate your help.
You're welcome. Next case is cause number M326166. Case is style the state of Texas versus Chris Johnson. Mr. Johnson is appearing via Zoom. Mrs. Johnson, you can take your mic off of mute. Mr. Johnson, how are you doing? I guess hold on a minute. Yeah, he won't even be able to hear us because he's not even connected. His audio is not connected. I can see that from here. Yeah, tell him to connect his audio. He has his video off and he's not connected, but with his audio. Mr. Grove. And that is Mr. Grove, that's on Horn.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Aaron Horn, page 4, number 1 on the announcement docket, page 4. It's cause number M333188, case of Styles of the State of Texas versus Aaron Justin Horn. Mr. Horn, how are you doing? That's good. Mr. Horn, you're represented in your case by your attorney David Grove. Make sure we have bond conditions. And Mr. Grove, how are you doing?
Good, Judge. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Grove, what is your announcement in Mr. Horn's case?
Well, as hard as we have worked, Judge, we're not going to be able to resolve this, so I'd ask the court to set it for trial.
Give us a reset date.
Okay, hold on, Judge, I'm checking on the phone. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Just need it in September, going to come on,
What's that?
September, because
Where are we putting it on?
Trial.
trial
Oh, hold on. Yeah.
before August.
September 18th.
Okay, this case will be reset for trial September 18th, 2023. Mr. Horn, your attorney is going to get your reset for you. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go. Now stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman, and you have a blessed day.
Judge, I also have another one who his case has been reset because he has pending felonies. And I believe that his felony is not going to be resolved today.
Okay, where what you talking about? Who you talking about, Mr. Bowman?
Mr. Bowman, yeah.
Okay, where is Mr. Bowman? Could you call Nathaniel Bowman?
Just Oh, he's around, he was around here somewhere.
He's going to get him. This is cause number M331508. Case of style of the state of Texas versus Nathaniel Bowman. Mr. Bowman, is that your full name? How are you doing, Mr. Bowman? I'm doing fine. Mr. Bowman, you're represented in your case by your attorney, David Grove. Attorney Grove, what is your announcement in Mr. Bowman's case?
Mr. Bowman has a pending felony and I'd like to wait to dispose for that one to be disposed of. I believe. And then I think we can dispose of this case, but I don't think his case is being disposed of, the felony.
Okay. Now,
I think it's,
okay. Now, well, what's your announcement?
uh, his case, it was the felony cases in the drug impact court has been reset. I don't know the date yet, but it's been reset again.
Do you know the date? They didn't give you a date? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna reset it. This case along with your felony case. Our court coordinator will check the computer, and once we get the date, the reset is gonna be sent to your attorney. And your bondsman will get a copy of the reset as well. All right, so you're free to go, and you have a blessed day. You're welcome. This is, court is in session and calls numbers M 332-239, calls number M 332-241. Both cases the style of state of Texas versus Chelsea, Washington. Ms. Washington, is that your full name? How you doing, Ms. Washington? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Ms. Washington. You representing your cases like your attorney Giles Cole. Attorney Cole, how are you doing?
Great job.
Mr. Cole, what is your announcement in Ms. Washington cases?
Short reset, John.
Okay, give us a short reset.
Next court date is August 14th.
Okay, this case is gonna be reset to August 14th of 2023. Ms. Washington, your attorney is going to get copies of your reset dates. Once you get a copy of your resets in both of your cases from your attorney, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. All right. Next case is cause number M 332-996, case of style of state of Texas, and cause number M 333-390. Both cases are style of state of Texas versus Gary Stephen Mayo. Gary Mayo.
He's outside, John.
Gary Mayo.
Yeah, no more from jury, so what you can do.
Mayo.
You don't know, you're sitting there.
Yes. Court is in session and calls numbers M 333-390 and calls number M 332-996. Both cases are style of state of Texas versus Gary Stephen Mayo. Mr. Mayo, is that your full name? How you doing, Mr. Mayo? That's good. Now, Mr. Mayo, you represented in your cases by your attorney, Attorney Giles Cole. Attorney Cole, what is your announcement?
Your Honor, we have a plea that we're gonna accept with the health card. We have a plea, we accepted the plea with this.
We got a plea.
Oh, y'all have a
We
plea
got a
worked out.
plea bargain judge and dismissing one and pleading two.
Oh, okay. Which, let's see.
So,
Mr. Mayo, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Mayo, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Mayo, you may put your hand down. Mr. Mayo, in cause number M332996, I have before me an information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that on or about August 7th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of terroristic threat, family violence. Mr. Mayo, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And charge, Mr. Mayo, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, you pleaded no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yeah.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Okay, now, Mr. Mayo, I have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishment, which is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Mayo, do you recognize this document?
Oh, okay.
On page 2 of the same document, there's a set of initials on the line next to a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest. You place your initials on this document. On page 3 of the same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes.
And on the next document that's titled trial court certification, the defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. Now, the first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
Now, the second box that's checked states that you are waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Well, Your Honor, he signed where I needed to sign.
Well, okay, then y'all can make that correction. Here's the whiteout if you need some. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Mayo, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Now, Mr. Mayo, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I've just showed you, did your attorney, Mr. Cole, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents? Now, is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Okay. Now, Mr. Mayo, are you a citizen of the United States? State. I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and the State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit, which is in the court's file. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 and 2 will be admitted. Court will take judicial notice of State's Exhibit Number 2. Mr. Cole, you've advised and counseled Mr. Mayo. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mayo, your attorney, Mr. Cole, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Okay, Mr. Mayo, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial, I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given, and I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain
I
agreement?
do, Your Honor.
And what is that plea bargain
In
agreement?
exchange for a plea of guilty or no contest, states agree to recommend 1 year deferred adjudication, $500 fine, and court costs, 60 hours community service, batter's intervention prevention program, no contact with the complaining witness, Kimberly Ann Mayo. And also in exchange for plea on this case, the states agree to dismiss cause number, the companion case, cause number M333390.
Okay.
The good court is.
What's the, excuse me, what's the court costs in this case, the amount?
So, yeah, that's not one night, man. It's like, I mean, it's through our probation.
Well, fees and everything.
It's 6 months.
This is subtract,
Okay.
It'll go.
so it's 307.
Term. Yeah, I believe it.
Right.
But probation sets you up. No, separate.
It's not on the computer, it's in person.
Yeah, or it can be, no.
Is there
it's required.
a fee in
It's
this
not-
here?
it's not-
Okay, fees are the family guide.
What is
That's
that?
a standard with all. In every court.
No, it's, this one doesn't get satisfying.
Travel, you gotta make sure.
Let me say it's family violence fee.
They're the ones who come. When I can. Now, of course, different than misdemeanor.
Maybe, right.
We got less restrictions, so. Yeah,
Hey, Mr. Mayo, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. While you're on probation, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500. Court costs of $307. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, a reimbursement fee of $15, and a family violence fee of $100. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay while you are on probation, is $166 a month. Will you be able to pay the $166 each month? Okay, now you'll also be required to perform 60 hours of community service, and you will be required to attend the Batter's Intervention and Prevention Program. You cannot have any contact with Kimberly Ann Mayo. You will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation, and the state will be dismissing the companion case, cause number M333390. Mr. Mayo, do you understand the state's offer? And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Mayo, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Mayo, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not result in a conviction on your record. and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. And now, Mr. Mayo, your attorney have just handed you a document that is titled Model Written Ammunition on the Ineligibility to Possess a Firearm Ammunition. In accordance with the Texas Administrative Code, Section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you of the following. Number one, you are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.01, firearms mean any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile or a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion of burning substance or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearms does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or two, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Now, the written admonition that has been given to you, that's for your records. Now, Mr. Mayo, again, if you successfully complete this probation, this will not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure. Now, let me ask you this. Was he required to have a GPS as a condition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're gonna sign an order to release. This is because you've taken care of your case, you're no longer on bond, and that is not a condition of your probation. And so I'm gonna sign the order to release the interlock because you no longer be on bond. Do you understand that? Okay. And you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following the directions of the clerk, you're gonna get a copy of the judgment, the dismissal, and a copy of the order releasing the GPS.
Is the GPS on?
A GPS.
Here, right down. Very top.
Basically,
Anywhere.
Yes,
Very top. Two more.
yes. Let me see.
Yes. Very top.
This is
And you just take a look, okay?
just hold on, man. You're gonna make a copy of this here.
Yes.
You want to do it, they'll do it.
It should be printing off in a few.
No.
Session, court is back in session and cause number M 326-166, case of style of the state of Texas versus Zacchaeus Johnson. Mr. Johnson is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Johnson, how are you doing? Mr. Johnson, can you hear me? He must not have his. Let's see. Yeah, he doesn't have it as his. He doesn't have his audio on. Now, Mr. Johnson is appearing via Zoom. Now, Mr. Johnson is represented in his case by attorney Joe Vasquez, who is present in court. Mr. Vasquez, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing fine. Like Mr. Johnson is connecting to his audio right now. He's still not connected. Yeah. So, Mr. Vasquez, yeah.
And before I forget, I just want to make sure the state can ask the next, whatever setting it, we have they're going to show up in person. This is 2019 case.
Okay,
We need to get this rolling. If that's our request for the court.
okay.
It's been 2019.
I mean, what's the holdup on the case?
I have no idea.
It's a dismissal for restitution, Your Honor, and Mr. Johnson asking for more time.
Okay, hold on. When was the offer given?
2019, no.
No, I'm saying, when was the offer given of the dismissal for
He's
restitution?
probably got,
Apparently, this must have been his deadline date.
could have had, he's had 3 different prosecutors that give him, but he's got to show up.
Hold on.
Yeah, we were given back in 2020 July, a year ago. Mr. Coleman was given this off, an offer.
What was the, I see a motion to withdraw was filed, must have been by his attorney.
Antonio.
No show. Okay. Yeah, because he had a bond forfeiture, he had a motion filed. And what date was the offer?
He said, we had an offer in 2021
I'm talking about
The latest,
the one to dismiss for restitution.
I just read my notes, not to saying Mr. Vasquez, obviously, but we trust Mr. Vasquez, but I don't have anything in my notes about a dismissal for, I have a probation offer for Mr. Tommy Coleman back, and you may have got that from Mr. Johnson.
Lamar,
Yes, but it's not in my
do
notes.
you have your notes?
I have it being December 9th, 2022.
Because before I got it, it wouldn't have been me. It would have been Mr.
And I think it was Lamar, but
And I don't mind going with that offer, but it's gotta be, you got to.
Yeah, but I mean, he
Get
should have,
going.
I'm sure we gave him a certain amount of days to get the money. Now, Mr.
I don't have anything about.
Mrs. What is the restitution?
$500.
Johnson. Okay.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Johnson, your attorney, was, and the prosecutor was discussing, an offer that was given to him, back, I guess, September of 2022, and it was a, dismissal for restitution. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, why haven't they? My question to you would be, now this is July of 2023, which is almost, well, actually it's about 10 months. Yeah, it's about 10 months. Why haven't you paid the restitution?
You know, lately I've been working through a lot of staffing agencies, and then sometime I got a lot of child support for like 10 kids, and I got 6 different child support cases. So they take a lot out of my check, and every time I get enough to save up, we get laid off because these, like I say, they do staffing agency, they lay us off, and then by the time I get some more work, the money I done saved up, I didn't have to go through that. So it was just kind of back and forth.
Okay. State,
Judge,
I told them,
gotta be here.
I told my lawyer just now I'll be able to come up with at least $250 of that by next month. Cause it was a $500 $500 payment I owed.
what do you want to do?
What I
That's what I
want,
told Mr. Vasquez.
I give him we're okay with another reset, but he's got to be here. He
All
can't
right,
do about
and this
Zoom.
is a fine, okay,
Fine only for.
Mr. Johnson, this is gonna be your final reset. You need to be here in person. What's that date? What, how much time you want to give him?
Just whatever, 2 months if he's saying 250,
Okay,
but this is the last one.
okay, this is your last reset. State is giving you 60 days, which is 2 months to come up with the $500 restitution, and you need to be here in person. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I need to be there in person to pay that, or
well, if it's paid beforehand, your attorney's, the case will get dismissed. But if you haven't paid it, you need
I
to
got
be. Okay, give us, what's that date? Okay, so this case is going to be reset to September 11th of 2023. Your attorney, your bondsman is going to be given a copy of your reset. Again, you need to be here in person, and the restitution need to be paid by that date. And this is your final reset. Stay in contact with your attorney and your bondsman. And again, the other thing is you need to be dressed appropriately when you come to court. I know when you first appeared on Zoom this morning, you had a do-rag on your head and a wife beater on. That was inappropriate clothing for the court, and the court remove you from the Zoom meeting. Do you understand that you need to
yes,
be
sir.
and you dress properly?
Yes.
Okay, you're free to go, and you have a blessed day.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Except for the felony.
Okay, so what are your clients here? It's on page 7 of the announcement docket. Mr. Vasquez has Claudia Mansur,
He's in custody.
Claudia Brown Mansur, so she's in custody.
Yes, sir.
And Kelby Green is also in custody.
Yeah.
Okay, so these cases will be reset with your felony, with the felony cases. Are these the only cases that you have left, Mr.
Yeah,
Vasquez? Okay, you're free to go,
Yeah.
and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor. You too.
Felony case, he said this afternoon.
Oh, Kelby, okay,
So
I'll watch it.
Mr. Vasquez,
okay, okay.
Well, good thing, because I was gonna get on you very lucky. I'm trying to say, Judge, you have a blessed day. It's good.
Okay, you are.
You did all right. That was a good.
Court is in session and calls number M 331-322, case is styled the state of Texas versus Travion LaShawn Franklin. Mr. Franklin, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Franklin? That's good, Mr. Franklin. You're represented in your case by your attorney, John West. Oh, you also have another case, cause number, two other cases, cause numbers M 331-324 and cause number M 333-512. All three cases are styled the state of Texas versus Travion LaShawn Franklin. And again, Mr. Franklin, you're represented in your cases by your attorney, John West. Attorney West, how are you doing?
Okay.
Mr. West, what is your announcement in Mr. Franklin's cases?
Another resetting. We're still trying to work stuff out with the state, trying to get everything worked out if we can, or if we can't, then go to trial, but at least one more resetting. That's
Okay, state,
That's fine, Your Honor.
okay, give us a reset date.
August 14th.
Okay, these cases will be reset to August 14th of 2023. Your attorney is going to get your recess. Once you get your recess from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir.
Waiting for our clerk. I need a copy. Jefferson County Court at law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session and cause number M332420. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Courtney Elaine Hutchins. Ms. Hutchins is in court. Ms. Hutchins, would you please come forward? All right, how are you doing, Ms. Hutchins? That's good, Ms. Hutchins. Let's see if we have bond conditions in this. Ms. Hutchins is represented in this case by her attorney Terrence Allison, who is also appearing via Zoom. Attorney Allison, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Allison, what is your announcement in Ms. Hutchins' case?
Judge, I'm asking if you don't mind if we reset this to August the 14th specifically, because I have another case in your court on that date. I have submitted an application for the pretrial diversion program on behalf of my client, and I also need to speak with the prosecutor about this case. And we haven't had a chance to visit.
Okay, now normally,
I don't make the decision on the pretrial, but I will say a DWI second. I'm not.
I know, but I still need to speak to him about, I just haven't had a chance to talk to him about the case at all.
Okay. So you want it on August the 14th?
Yeah, August the 14th, because I have to be there on another case titled Baptiste.
Okay, this case will be reset to August 14th, 2023. Ms. Hutchins, you will get your reset here in court. Once you get your reset, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Please stand over in front of our court coordinator.
May I be excused, Judge?
Yes, you may be excused, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, you too.
And you have a blessed day as well, Ms. Hutchins. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in 2 cases. Cause number M332358 and cause number M321904. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Charles E. Evans Jr. Mr. Evans, is that your full name? Mr. Evans, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Evans, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Evans, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Evans? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Mr. Evans. You're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Theodore Johns Jr. Mr. Johns, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you, sir.
That's good. Mr. Johns, do you waive a record
Yes,
in Mr. Evans' case
Yes, sir.
or Ms. Evans' cases? Mr. Evans, in cause number M321904, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that on or about January 14 of 2019, while you're in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault family violence. Mr. Evans, do you understand what you've been charged with? Oh. Well, let me do this here. Well, we can't go forward on this case. Now, Mr. Evans, if you need time to talk to your attorney, you can talk to your attorney, but at this time, the court cannot go forward. Individual has to be aware of what they're being charged with. Okay, so let's.
I've explained to him he's charged with assault. You understand that?
It's a class what? Hey, what is that?
Okay, let me do this here. Want y'all to have a seat? The court is in session in cause number M331217. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Cornelius Cunningham. Mr. Cunningham, is that your full name? Mr. Cunningham, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Cunningham, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Cunningham, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Cunningham? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Cunningham, you're represented in your case by your attorney Jared Gilthorpe. Attorney Gilthorpe, how are you doing?
Doing well, thanks, thank you.
And Ms. Gilthorpe, do you waive a record in Mr. Cunningham's case?
Yes.
State is represented in this case by Attorney Erica Porter. Ms. Porter, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Mr. Cunningham, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that on or about October 27 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of evading arrest, detention. Mr. Cunningham, do you understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. Cunningham, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Okay.
Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? Are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Mr. Cunningham, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials, CC, that are on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Mr. Cunningham, did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Cunningham, there's a signature above the line that is titled, okay, I think you forgot to put your last name on it. It just has Cornelius. You need to complete his signature. Okay, now, Mr. Cunningham, on page 3 of this document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant's signature or defendant. Is this your signature? On the next page, which is another document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? And do we have the discovery certification? All right. Mr. Cunningham, I also have a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Mr. Cunningham, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything that he went over? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Cunningham, are you a citizen of the United States? State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit Number 2, the probable cause affidavit, which is in the court's file. State, would you like to offer States 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
There you go.
No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. And the court will also take judicial notice of State's Exhibit Number 2 in the court's file. Mr. Gilthorpe, you've advised and counseled Mr. Cunningham. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Cunningham, your attorney, Mr. Gilthorpe, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Mr. Cunningham, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
It is 9 months deferred, $500 fine, 60 hours of community service.
Mr. Cunningham, the state is offering that you serve 9 months of deferred adjudication. During the deferred adjudication probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $292. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, or your analysis fee of $15 each month. You'll also be required to pay a reimbursement fee of $15, and you'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. Now, Mr. Cunningham, the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation is $216 a month. Will you be able to pay the $216 each month?
Yes.
You'll also be required to perform 60 hours of community service, and you will be required to adhere to the standard terms and condition of this probation. Now, Mr. Cunningham, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Now, Mr. Cunningham, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Cunningham, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You could talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. Now, Mr. Cunningham, you're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. You're welcome.
Yeah, just.
Okay, Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session in 2 cases, cause numbers M332358 and cause number M321904. You have to send that one back to me.
Yes, yes, that's fine.
And both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Charles E. Evans Jr. And Mr. Evans, is that your full name? Okay, Mr. Evans, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Evans, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may put your hand down. Mr. Evans, you're represented in your cases by your attorney, Attorney Theodore Jones Jr., Attorney Jones. Do you waive a record
Yes, sir.
in Mr. Evans' case?
Yes, sir.
Or in Mr. Evans' cases? Now, Mr. Evans, in cause number M321904, I have before me an information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Charles Evans Jr., on or about January 14 of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault, family violence. Mr. Evans, do you understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. Evans, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? How do you plead? Now, you pleaded no contest freely and voluntarily? You say, was that a yes? Now, you pleaded no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest these charges. Okay. And yes, so that was a yes. Now, Mr. Evans, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document? Okay, on page 2 of this same document. Okay. Okay, now he's entered a plea of no contest, but on this document, he signed on the line that says guilty.
Yes, sir.
So what are you pleading? No contest, or are you pleading guilty? Okay, so he needs to put his initials, erase them here and put them on the other line. You're gonna, that back of that is an eraser. Yeah, the back of the, is it eraser?
It did, actually did. I'm surprised. Right here.
And check the box, no contest. Okay,
Yes, sir, he
contingent, okay,
I'm leaving the rest of it up to you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
okay. Now, Mr. Evans, on State's Exhibit No. 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, a set of initials, CE, on a line that's next to a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature? On the next document, which is trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? At the top of this document, there's one box that's checked. The box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Mr. Evans, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Evans, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything that he went over? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Evans, are you a citizen of the United States? State, I have before me State's Exhibit No. 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit 2, the probable cause affidavit, which is in the court's file. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
None, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Johns, you've advised and counseled Mr. Evans. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Your Honor.
And Mr. Evans, your attorney, Mr. Johns, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided fully effective and competent legal representation? Okay, Mr. Evans, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Exchange for plea of guilty or no contest, states agree to recommend 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail and court costs. The defendant has credit for 5 days at this point, Your Honor. We also, in exchange for a plea of guilty or no contest, states agree to dismiss the companion case. That cause number is 332358.
Okay. 337. Do we have a magistrate's? It's probably 338. It might be an old one. I might have to see. Okay, Mr. Evans, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for the 5 days that you've already served and any time that you are entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case is 338. You said 338? 300, okay. The court cost in this case is $337. Will you be able to pay the $337 court cost? You will? All right. You will also be required, and the state will also dismiss cause number M332358. Now, Mr. Evans, do you understand the state's offer? Think the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. Evans, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Evans, you're going, now, his jail time starts today?
Today.
Okay. Now, Mr. Evans, you're gonna stand on the X in front of our court coordinator, in front of our court clerk, and follow her directions. And once you finish following her directions, you're gonna have a seat in the jury box.
Right here.
And also, we'll be dismissing cause number M332358. Give that paperwork to him. I need to go over this paperwork with him. They're right here. It's on here.
Right here.
On the top right here.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's get that to him. I need to get that to you. Now, Mr. Evans, your attorney just handed you a document that's titled model written ammunition and eligibility to possess firearm or ammunition. And I will go over this document, which in accordance with the Texas Administrative Code Section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you of the following. Number one, you are by entry or order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number two, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be eligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number three, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013, a firearms means any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance of any device or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is one, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or two, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse and neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Now, Mr. Evans, the ammunition that has been given to you is for your records. This will conclude your case. Do you need?
I'm about to point out the dismissal. He has the other, one to put on it. Right now, the dismissal right now.
Okay, just have us stand next to your attorney in front of the clerk. She'll give you your paperwork. Once she give you the paperwork, please follow the bill. And you have a blessed day. And Mr. Johns, these are your last two cases. You have a blessed day as well. The court will be in recess. Okay, Previn Mayfield, cause number M332456, case style state of Texas versus Previn Mayfield. How many recess days didn't have? Mr. Mayfield, this is cause number M332456, case style state of Texas versus, is that Previn? Previn Mayfield, Mr. Mayfield, how are you doing? Okay, now, Mr. Mayfield, your case was reset to give you an opportunity to hire an attorney. Have you hired an attorney? Okay, well, you're gonna have to do something because if I'm not mistaken, the court coordinator just informed me that your case, you signed a judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney, stating that you wanted to hire your own attorney back in July of 2022. Okay. So your time is up. Okay. I mean, now you've had a whole year to hire an attorney. You have not hired an attorney. Okay. And so, like to say the court in that explanation, you were informed that you had three options. Number one, you can hire your attorney. Number two, if you could not afford to hire an attorney, you could request that an attorney be appointed to represent you. And number three, you can waive your right to have an attorney and represent yourself. Okay. So as I stated earlier, the court has given you a year to hire an attorney. You have not hired an attorney. Okay. So you're not, you're going to have to do something. Okay. I'm not telling you what you're going to do, but let me ask you this here. You didn't, why haven't you hired an attorney? So you're saying you don't think you can afford to hire an attorney? So we can give you an affidavit of indigence to fill out to see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. Okay. Do you want to do that? Okay. Just have a seat at that table, and we're going to give you the paperwork that you need, and then we'll review that paperwork. But you can stand. Our court coordinator give you the paperwork. Does he? There's a pen we can give him. Okay. Just have a seat and fill out that document out. Next case, actually, the next two cases are Robert Lee Anderson. Could you see if he has the other explanation in his case? You can come forward, Mr. Anderson. Cause number is M332946. Cause number M332948. Both cases are styled in the state of Texas versus Robert Lee Anderson. And Mr. Anderson, is that your full name? Yes. Mr. Anderson, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking.
October 11, 2022.
Okay, now, Mr. Anderson, back in October 11, 2022, you requested that your case be reset to give you an opportunity to hire your attorney. Have you hired your attorney?
Not yet. I talked to his name is Brittany. You know, one reason because I was supposed to have a hire by now, but I didn't.
Well,
I had to take care of previous case, you know.
Okay, so that's gonna be a conflict.
You want to do a transfer or you want to see who's on hire first?
Yeah, we'll see who you hire. Okay, we're gonna give you an opportunity to hire.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
You had since October, I don't know, we might have to just do it. He's talked to her.
Yeah, I talked to her this morning when I was.
Well, so we may have to just do a
Okay.
Yeah.
Do a transfer.
yeah, stand over there. Your case is gonna have to be transferred. I have a conflict of interest in that case. And Judge Woods be handling these cases. Sir, what's your name? What he said? Notary? Okay, Bill, you can hand that to the bailiff.
Last name Ruiz, R-U-I-Z. First name.
We have Ruiz, R-U-I-Z.
M-A-R-N-O-L-B-I.
M-A-R-Y.
M-A-R-N.
N.
Is in Nora. Ocean. Lincoln, Victor.
Wait, M-A-R-N-O-L-D.
You can just read it. It said it was Ruiz. I don't see a Ruiz on the docket.
No. wait a minute. Council.
It must have been the wrong court, huh?
Yeah, he probably is. So
Now, Mr. Mayfield, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay, I need to, you was all supposed to. You was have to, you also required to redo the judge's explanation. The first one you said you was applying, you wanted to hire, now you're asking for a court-appointed attorney. So you have to fill this out and make the appropriate change on here. And you'll sign here and date it.
No.
When you move, what percentage that should be on the right now?
Yeah. Court is back in session. And the court is in session and calls number M332-456, case of Styles, State of Texas versus Previn Mayfield. And again, your name is Previn Mayfield, is that correct? Mr. Mayfield, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Mayfield, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayfield, you may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Mayfield, I have before me two documents. The first document is judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney. Mr. Mayfield, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Are these your initials on the line saying you would like to apply for court-appointed attorney? I also have a document that's titled affidavit of indigence. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of the same document, there is a signature above the line that's titled defendant signature. Is this your signature? And Mr. Mayfield, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I just showed you, did you read the documents?
Yes.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayfield, I read your answers. Based on your answers, you meet the eligibility requirements for the appointment of a court-appointed attorney. The attorney that will be appointed to represent you in this case is Attorney Peter Doyle. Attorney Doyle will be giving information about how to contact you. You also be given information on how to contact Mr. Doyle. And let's see, this is wait up, hold on. Let me get Mayfield. Here's some bond conditions. Give me both those folders. Then Mr. Mayfield, the court is going to give you some bond conditions. And these are standard bond conditions that the court is going to give you in County Code Law number 2. And it reads as follows: following the return of a criminal information in County Code Law number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named here in order subject to the additional conditions. Number 1, defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number 2, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time is directed by the court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs or alcohol in the defendant's body, and that's pursuant to the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.44, Section A2, and Section C2. Do you understand that condition? And condition number 3, the defendant shall not communicate either directly or indirectly with an alleged victim of the pending offense, and the defendant shall not go near any residence, school, or other location frequented by the alleged victim. Do you understand that condition? Now, condition number 4 does not apply because it only applies in a DWI case, and your case is not a DWI case. Now, condition number 5 does apply. And condition number 5 states that the defendant is prohibited from possession of firearm or ammunition unless the defendant is a peace officer, as defined by Section 1.07 of the Texas Penal Code, actively engaged in employment as a sworn full-time paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Do you understand that condition? Now, Mr. Mayfield, if you violate any one of these bond conditions, your bond can be revoked. And if your bond is revoked, a warrant will be issued for your arrest, and you'll be arrested and placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that? Now, Mr. Mayfield, just have a seat. And when we're ready, you'll be given a copy of these bond conditions and information on how to contact your attorney and your court date that has been reset. Just have a seat. Jefferson County Court at law number 2